Morning, guys. Welcome to the kitchen. I have a few things to talk about, as always. First of all, there's no one in my house, and unless you live in a multi-family dwelling, you will not understand that comment. Very seldom is no one in my house, and this morning was this morning, and it's like, oh my God, do I paint? Do I have a bath without someone knocking on the door? Do I work in the garden? What do I do? I paint. So we're going to start where we left off because a couple people have asked if I would go over some of my pieces that are completed. I did say this in the last video, and then another lady asked me again the other day. So this is the board that I finished with the irregular edge. I'm not going to resin these. I'm just going to spray them with some spray varnish. It's bamboo. It's not going. The only reason I varnish or resin tiles is because it's a little more durable, and most of our tiles, you know, they're fine. They don't need to be resined, but it just gives it extra protection. My starfish, this is a real starfish painted, so I'm going to just attach him here and a little piece of raffia on it, and that piece is finished. So I screwed up on my edges and I didn't like them, so I sanded them down and I left some bleeding over, running over, and I painted the rest. That's that piece. And then I posted this one on the Facebook groups, but I didn't do a video. This was my kind of over composition. It was really busy, but it was so pretty I had to keep it. So that's this one. So this one I've actually just covered with a clear coat of Kmart varnish. And it'll be just fine. It's not going anywhere. It's going to hang in my hallway. And I'm okay with that. So that's that piece all totally finished. So my next thing that you guys know and have seen on the Facebook groups is I get into all kinds of different mixed media. And right now I seem to be turning more into like sculpting and clay pieces. So I'm working on an ocean theme, and I've tried two different clays. I made white porcelain clay, which is really super easy to make. So these pieces are drying. So I'm working on an ocean theme. So at this point, here's where I've gotten on my ocean theme. This actually sits up like that. And then I'm sculpting an octopus. This is really easy. This is just cornstarch, water, not even water, cornstarch, white glue, vinegar, and some veggie oil, baby oil, whatever you happen to have. Cook it for 2 minutes in 15-second intervals and stir constantly. So I made my mom for Mother's Day some flowers. So this one is still quite pliable. It's still wet. I just made it yesterday. But I'm going to do another whole set of these flowers kind of on a board. I have to train myself how to actually paint, like really paint, but that's what I'm doing. So easy way to embellish your pours. My plan with my ocean theme is to potentially maybe pour the background in ocean colors, and then I'm just going to dry brush the little creatures. So my next clay piece is going to be a big piece. I have a long, tall African vase, and I'm going to actually sculpt all the way around this vase. It's about 4 feet tall, but I'm just going to spray it in a matte black. So that's it. Those are my things to talk about before we paint. I paint on these boards, you know that. This one is bigger than the last. Same thing, dollar store boards. These are $4. These ones they actually consider serving boards. Super nice for us to paint on. Completely finished. I've taped everything off really well because I would rather paint than do cleanup. So as always, just kind of burnish your edge with a popsicle stick. Let's paint, you guys. Let's paint. So my paints have been sitting on the counter for, I don't know, about a week now. So I had to, in fact, they were so lumpy, I had to strain them and then I had to thin them out. What are we going to do? What are we going to paint? Good idea. Good question. Usually one has a plan going into this, but I don't. All right. We're going to paint with a white base. So this is Beautytone Velvet. it got really thick, like I said. So, and lumpy, so I had to strain it and get the lumps out, and then I had to thin it out with some water. So I'm hoping that it is okay, but I'm pretty confident that it will be. I'm just going to spread this around and help it out a tiny bit. So the edges that you tape, just make sure that you run the popsicle stick around them to prevent bleed through, because they will bleed, especially if you're working with a thinner acrylic. All right, that's as far as I'm going with that right now. I'm going to find a towel. So let's do, well, first let's give this a bit of a spin, just to even things out. So I did another ocean theme piece, which I can't show you because I actually just dropped my tripod on it and I broke a bunch of it. And my clay that I'm using is obviously not suitable for hard modeling clay. So when Opus opens this morning, I'm going to go and talk to them about some air dry clay. I might have to order it. But that's what I'm going to do on my African vase, because my ocean piece that I didn't show you is very, very fragile, which is no good in my house. No good in anybody's house as far as that goes. All right, so I think my base might be a tiny bit thick. Okay, what are we going to do, you guys? Let's do some transfer blooms. All right, let's put this over there. We'll worry about all that later. And then we will, oh goodness, just about dump a cup of paint off the table and onto the chair. That's unfortunate if that had have happened. So here's another really, really dirty, messy puddle. Again, it's been sitting for like a week, so it's kind of leftovers. Looks a little bit boring, so let's add a little bit of black. Artist Love Flow acrylic in black, and we're just going to mix this up. We're just looking for, I don't know, just some lines in our bloom maybe. Okay, my colors. How about let's torch this a tiny bit. This could be interesting because there might be some white satin enamel in this. So we have Atelier, let's just, maybe we'll swipe it. Atelier Raw Umber. Okay, this is another Atelier color, which I don't usually use and I can't really remember the name of it. I can tell you if you have to know, but it's a pretty red, which is, again, not my colors, but walk on the wild side. Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold and Golden Ochre. So my paints are quite thick, as you can see. It's more than just a mound on a mound. It's kind of holding shape. So I'm not really sure if we're going to have success here, or if we're going to have to thin our paints down. So my swipe mix is going to be black and gold. Oh, I just dropped, look at, I just dropped it right in my coffee cup. The dirty end, of course. So this is Aussie Floetrol, 3:1. And this is Atelier Gold Cell Mix, also mixed 3:1. And we're going to swipe it. I'm going to turn you guys around a bit, actually. Pretty on the palette knife. I'm going to swipe it again in gold. And I'm going to add a little bit of that red because it seems to have gotten gobbled up. And maybe a little more quinacridone. So I might have to stop this and fix my paints because they really are quite thick. But all right, let's give that a minute. So swiping over a swipe doesn't always work well, but it brings in some variation and some color, and that's kind of all I'm trying to do. Scoop and drag. So composition on our tile doesn't matter because we're going to scoop it and move it. But it creates just some pretty puddles of color to play with. Okay, let's try that. So I'm going to move this now. I'm going to bring our prepared board back up. And we're just going to scoop this up. So I'm just using a cheapy palette knife, putty knife from the dollar store. Nothing exciting. So I'm going to come in here, pick up some of the light stuff first, and then we're just going to swipe it. Okay, there's one swipe. So this is kind of what I was thinking I was going to try to do with my ocean themed piece in kind of variations of blues and greens. I'm not sure how successful I'm going to be. It is a new project for me. I have absolutely no experience working with clay and putty and stuff like that, but I kind of have my hand in many different things at any given time. I'm just going to take that off. And then, are we going to spin this, you guys? Maybe a little bit. We're just going to do some tipping and tilting for now. Happy Mother's Day. A day late in a lot of places. 2 days late in others. Yeah, it was, I got up yesterday morning and there was like sunlight coming through the bedroom window. It was like, oh my God, what is that? Greater Victoria has been under like 2 weeks of just really crappy, wet, gray weather. It's so depressing. It's just awful. So it was like, oh my God, there's sun shining. Okay, let's, well, I still want to get rid of this. Just a little bit of gray, that's all. I want to make sure my edges are completely covered, and I do not want paint flying everywhere. So we're just going to scoop up the excess, put it back into our dirty gray base. All right, my friends, we're going to spin it, spin it, spin it. I have no walls up, so it's a dangerous endeavor. This is quite pretty in here. still need to give it a really good spin. I still don't have paint down on my edges. Bear with me, guys. Like clean up on aisle 5. My house is so poorly lit in the kitchen. I tell you this every time. Lighting is always an issue. So if I have to have my overhead light on, then you guys get the glare. And if I wait till the evening, then I get the sun, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is the best time to paint. And if I don't have to put walls up, then it's a lot nicer on the eyes. Okay. So now let's give this a big spin again. This is a tedious project today, you guys. Manual, tipping and tilting. Okay, I'm going to tip towards me because I don't have my edges covered on that side. I'm going to go back. So the weight of the paint is all on this upper edge. So now we can let the paint move itself down and cover that side. Is it covered? Not quite. Almost. Okay, so I like my colors, but it's kind of boring. So let's add something to it. Let's take our sturdy paddle over here. Worst case scenario, these bamboo boards, take them out in the grass and hose them off, you guys. They're so versatile, they're so easy, and they're really cheap. And these bigger ones are also $4. I'm just mixing my puddle up, that's all I'm doing. And I'm going to add a little bit of white, I think. And what color would look nice? Maybe some quinacridone, nickel azo gold would be good. I like the gray at the bottom. I just want to put a little bit of color in it. So, okay, black cell mix. A little bit of red. I'm just going to blow this out. Oh, pass out on the table. Okay, we're going to give this a second, you guys, and then we're just going to put one more, maybe a prettier, brighter swipe, transfer swipe right up the middle. Decide what I like. I'd like to get rid of that, actually. All right, here we go. there's one. And look at it, I just dribbled on the bottom. Now I dribbled over there. Not that that's going to matter because we're going to spin it. Okay, I might leave it like that just for a minute. And then we'll clean up and then we'll spin some more. Mother's Day in my house was pretty fun. We took the grandbaby out to see my mom and took her flowers. And I had made one of those white clay porcelain pictures, and I did it in dogwoods and I dry brushed it. I actually should have taken a video of it before I took it, but I didn't. So my daughter and granddaughter and I went out, took my mom flowers, made her wall hanging, and stopped and picked up donuts. And that was about it, because I do an annual prawn feed every year. And this year it's going to be the end of May. And that's her Mother's Day thing. And we just have this huge big pig out, really. Just an overindulgence of fresh prawns. This year I said I'm keeping everything really simple, because quite often I go all bonkers and make rice and all the rest of it. And the reality is anybody that comes just wants to have prawns. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do prawns and just garlic bread and maybe Caesar salad. And that's all. So a lot of this, unfortunately, is coming off. Oh, crap. Did you see what I did, you guys? What a bonehead. Okay, so now we're going to fill that in with white. That was stupid. I forgot that I hadn't really dropped it deep. Sometimes I take my taping way down, and I forgot that I didn't. All right, that's all right, because we're going to spin it again. That was really dumb. I think it'll be okay. Okay, we're going to just do some little bit of manual shifting here. Oh, goodness. Oh my God, you guys. Oh, do chill with me in the kitchen. You never know what's going to happen. Oh, God. Okay, if I can hang on to the board, we're just going to try to take a little bit of the weight off of that corner. Let's make sure I have a good grip on this. Oh, that could have been a complete nightmare. All right. Okay, now that we've recovered from that disaster. Oh, this is slippery as all get out, you guys. I think because I used packing tape on the back of it, so I can't hold it. And we're going to bring down the corner that I scraped off accidentally, just a little bit. Okay, that was fun. I'm going to sit it on there so I can pick it up. So I have a few little white speckles and spots, which I'm not really fond of, as you all know. But I think later on it would be just as easy to go in and just touch them up with a bit of a Posca pen. I really have to get away from pouring in these colors. The red was a bit of a newbie for me, but my colors are always very similar. I like them. That's the unfortunate bit. So let's try to just touch a couple of these dots and see if we can get rid of them. Not easily and not well. Yeah, I think I want to leave it alone. I think it's easier to touch up later and just have a nicer, cleaner look. I think. Scoop up the paint. Yeah, these bigger boards are pretty fun to paint on. They just give you a little bit more room to play. So even something as crazy and wild as this, I can see where it would be really fun for me to just create maybe some of these big clay flowers and just pick up some of the colors in there and just have this really wild, crazy, abstract background. That sounds like a super fun project for me to do. All right, my friends, I'm going to love you and leave you right there. I'm going to try to bring you down. Everything's a little uneven right now. I'm spinning. How come? All right, that's a bit better. I'm going to try to bring you down for a closer look. And then we're just going to put it away, I think. I'm looking at it and thinking, how else could I fiddle with it? Okay, going to drop you guys down. So there it is. Yeah, I hate these spots. I don't like the spots at all. All right, my friends, that's it. Super easy. Pretty lacing. This whole thing looks out of focus for me, and I hope it's not, but I'm going to leave it at that. Love you and leave you. Thank you all so much for joining me in the kitchen today, and I'll see everybody really soon. Bye, guys.